So when you guys buy your Action 5, probably the first thing you're going to do is update the firmware. And then after that, I would suggest the first thing you do is download the MIMO app and get familiar with the MIMO app, because that is the first best accessory, and it's free from DJI, that you can access. And that's what this video is going to be all about. Accessories that are worth the money, ones that you're actually going to use. Let's get into it. So without a doubt, the most value-packed accessory for the Action 5 from DJI is the MIMO app. So once you update the firmware on the Action 5, the next thing you want to do is download the MIMO app, get it onto your phone. I've got my phone suctioned here onto the dash, and let me just come over here and hit the record on the Pocket 3, and I can show you a few things. You lose some of the adjustment here once you hit record, but I can come in. So basically anything that you can do on the Action 5, pretty much, you can do it on the MIMO app. And so it's just as you can see, you've got the auto button here, you got exposure compensation, tracking, and then down the bottom, I should be able to make a few, there you go, you can see the screen. So I could switch into Pro mode. I can go into the grid lines and turn grid lines on. Everything else here is grayed out. I'm not sure it even let me into the Pro mode when recording, yeah. So you have to make these adjustments before you start recording, but I mean, this is just so powerful. I mean, I can just hit the button here to stop recording on the MIMO app. I've got the button here that I can hit. It doesn't get any better than this. And yes, I've got this connected to the Pocket 3, but it does exactly the same thing on the Action 5. So that is my #1 pick for an accessory that you are going to use. Absolutely, the MIMO app. Okay, so next up, as far as accessories you're going to use, has to be this one right here. So this is the Smallrig suction mount. And so if you, now I have two of these things now. I got one here for the, oh, that's a different one, but I have two of these. Actually, so there's one on the top windshield there holding up the Action 5 that I'm recording into right now. And then I use this one with a little phone mount, and I stick it onto the infotainment screen on my vehicle. And what I like about these is that they're very simple, right? So it's just a 1/4 20. You can screw one of these things on for your phone, easy peasy. But whenever you're using suction mounts, you want to Windex the screen, give this a wipe, and these things are great because they just, you know, you just put them in place, and then there's one latch, and that's it, it's done. And it has a fair amount of force, suction force, a good amount anyways, to hold your thing in place, whatever it is you're going to hold. In my case, it's my phone 9 times out of 10. But I use these things all the time. So I have, I think, 4 suction mounts now. I have 2 of these Smallrig guys. I have this Ulanzi one, which I use all the time. And I'll put links to this stuff in the description for you so you can get at it. And then I have another larger one, which is a Neewer. So this guy here, the Ulanzi, usually I'm going to use that for outside the vehicle or on the sunroof if I want a little bit extra support. But if you just want to hold up your phone or an action camera, then these Smallrigs are by far the way to go. Okay guys, so next up has to be the Smallrig cage. The cage that comes from DJI is okay, but it has this kind of wonky, if I turn it this way, and you got to slide your camera in here, and it's really tight here where the record button is. So it'll definitely give your camera more protection than not having this, but the Smallrig cage is by far the way to go. So there's a little red button on the top. This comes down, and you can simply take your camera and slide it in here. Of course, it'll get stuck because I'm demonstrating it. There we go. And you just close that like that, and then you can come over on this side, and now you've got access to your battery. And if I, like this, now you can get access to the battery, which you don't have with the other case. So, you know, and this is anodized aluminum, So if you're going to be doing car rollers and you're going to mount your camera on the outside of your car, which is what I'm going to show you next, this is the way to go. And fairly inexpensive, doesn't interfere with the filters, gives you battery access, and I just discovered 2 minutes ago, it also has a 1/4-20 on the top, has one on the side. So you got 1/4-20 on the top, but no magnetic clip access. You've got 1/4-20 and a mag mount on the side. You got a 1/4-20 and mag mount on the bottom. And on the other side, you don't have an access because this is where your USB-C port is. So, you know, highly recommend this guy for sure. Okay guys, so I thought this little segment might be helpful for you guys to show you how I do the mounting of my suction mounts. And so I just hose down this, you know, the metal wherever I'm going to put the mount and get it good and clean. Okay, and it also doesn't hurt to give the mount itself a wipe. And then once you do, you notice there's a curve, like there's a crease here, so I want to stay away from that if I can. But then it's pretty much just find a place that it's going to adhere to. And on the depressor here, you're going to notice, in my case, it's a red ring. You want to keep pumping this thing until you don't see the red ring, and then you're laughing. And then you can just take out your arm like so. Now, this is a Ulanzi SCO2, and I've had this thing for a while. It works really good. So with the Smallrig cage, you got a number of options for mounting it. So you can do a side mount like this thing here. So maybe we'll just do that for you. And the reason I think the Smallrig cage is so much better is because it's metal, and the DJI cage, I mean, one whack with a bulrush and you're going to lose your camera. That I wouldn't trust the mag mount, especially if I'm doing this kind of stuff, but this is not coming off. I've never had one of these things come off my vehicle yet. And then the beauty is you can turn this guy. If you want to mount this up like this, you can do it. If you want to mount this, you know, like this, you can do it. If you want to mount this so it's hanging down like that, the sky's the limit, right? So you got lots of options there. So I hope that helps you. And if you have questions about this stuff, you know where to get a hold of me. Drop me a line, I'll try and help you out. Okay guys, so the next accessory that you are absolutely going to use is this K&F Nano-X set of filters for your Action 5. And I'll put a link to maybe at the end of this video, or I'll put it up here for you. And so basically what this is a set of ND-PL. So they're ND filters and they're polarizing filters. And the way that works is that there's a little dial on the front of the filter. And so you can, that's the PL part of it, the polarizing part. So if you're shooting over water, you can turn the dial on the filter until you get the, you know, the polarization that you're looking for. And this is 8, 16, 32, and 64. All you're going to need, but trust me, I use this thing all the time. I've had it for a couple of weeks now, and very handy. And this is, you're going to find a lot of accessories for the Action 5. They show up on the website as stuff for Action 3, Action 4, but any of the Action 4 stuff that I bought, like this, the Smallrig cage, they all fit the Action 5, no problem. So this is another good one. And you're going to want to have a set of these for sure. Okay guys, so this morning I am with the Action 5 and I'm at, it's in auto mode and the ISO is 435 and I'm shooting directly into the sun to show you how the K&F filter system handles the sun and the reflection. And so right now I've got the ND8 on the A5, on the Action 5. And I have the, so the difference between just a standard ND filter and an ND-PL, the PL stands for polarizer. And I'm just going to take, you're going to see my finger come up here. And I'm just going to slowly turn the polarizer and bring it down. And you'll see the sun reflecting on the water. You'll see the difference that it makes. So right now the line has gone from like 12 o'clock on the polarizer and it's down at about 6 o'clock, and you can see it really closes out that reflection on the water. Okay, so now we've got the ND16. Okay, so I've got the line on the polarizer right at 12 o'clock. And let's take it right down. That's opening it up a little bit. There, it's cutting out the reflection dramatically right there. And that's at about 6 o'clock. Okay, so now we're back with the 32. I've got the line on the polarizer right at 12 o'clock. And let's just bring it around. Yeah, you can see the difference it's having. Okay, so now we're back with the 64. I've got the polarizer line at 12 o'clock, and I'm just going to spin it around here. And by the way, I'm shooting 4K 30, Rocksteady's on, and I'm in ultra wide mode. Not that that's going to change the polarizer. So the polarizer is now right at about 6 o'clock. Okay, so here's the four filters side by side. Top left 8, top right 16, bottom left 32, bottom right 64. Now, these filters are fairly inexpensive, but you have to ask yourself, just because something says that it's Polar Pro doesn't mean it's the best filter on the planet. These are from K&F Concept. I've been using them for years, and no, this is not a paid review. These filters were not sent to me, so this is, you ask yourself a question, right? You buy something, it's inexpensive, you test it out. Does it do the job as far as ND for you? Does it do the job with glare reduction for the polarizers? And in this case, the answer is yes. These things do a pretty darn good job, in my humble opinion. Okay, folks, today's tech moment is going to be about the Vamson camera bag or hard shell case, and it comes with this little accessory bag inside this here, and they threw in a free gift, which is this carabiner, which is, I probably won't use these, but it's still much appreciated to receive them. And the reason I won't use these is because it's too hard to see your bits and pieces inside like black bags. So instead of waiting until the end of the video, I'm going to tell you right now, my rating for this thing is 4 out of 5 stars. It would be 5 stars if the interior was yellow, lime green, robin's egg blue, a nice light color that gives high contrast to your bits and pieces for your camera parts, okay? So that's the only con I have with this bag. It's water resistant. I don't really think it's 100% waterproof. It's got some nice zipper pulls on it. You get all your stuff in it. It's got a good solid handle on it. And so let's take a look inside here, and I'll show you why I like this thing. Okay, let's get this centered up here for you. So on the top side, I can get my tripod stand in here. Selfie stick for the Action 5. This is the Pocket 3 tripod base. This is the Pocket 3 filter set. Batteries for the Action 5. K&F Nano-X series ND-PL filter set. These are really good, actually. I test them out in the video, so you've seen it already. So that's everything on the top side. Microfiber cloth on this side. I got the Action 5, GoPro Hero 8, battery extension for the Pocket 3, and the DJI Mic 2. And it's all easily accessible with 1, 2, 3 dividers. Samsung. So two things. I would have liked to have seen more dividers and stop making black interiors on camera bags. But other than that, I think it's a really good, really useful little case. I use these little makeup bags over what you provided in your bag because I can see through these things. I can see everything in here at a glance, and I'm less likely to lose something. So there's one for the mics, there's one for all the other bits and pieces you need when you're shooting these kind of videos. And then of course we got, last but not least, we've got the Pocket 3. And so some extra dividers would have been nice to just organize. Like I could have put one here to hold the Pocket 3 in place from rolling around a little bit. But the way I'm using it, it works out pretty good. I can load this in like this. This goes on top like this. And then these pieces here, I can throw them in here fairly quickly, like so. Didn't use this too much when I was shooting this video, but it's in there just in case. And then make sure you zip this up. Don't ask me why I'm telling you that. And when you're working with the bag, make sure the Vamson name is facing you. And that way you pick it up and away you go. And that's it. So this is what I was looking for, was I can take this out to the car, flip it open. All my stuff is right here. And away I go, and I can start shooting. Easy peasy. So if you're looking for something like this, I'll put a link in the description for you. But for me, it's been a godsend for sure. And aside from the interior color, I love this thing. I mean, it's a nice little bag. Okay, next on our list of accessories is the DJI Selfie stick, which is kind of cool. It's about 1 inch in diameter, and it extends to 1.5 meters and super rigid. So you can really get, here, let me back up a little bit. You can really get some good reach with this thing. Okay, so the selfie stick, I love it. You also get 2 of these mag mounts, and the mag mounts, they're a little bit, I find them a little bit hard to get at the levers sometime, but for the most part, they work really great. But I just wouldn't use them if I was doing car rollers. And that's another thing I like about the Action 5 is the musical tones that it plays. It gives you confirmation that thing's booting up and it's shutting down, which is kind of cool. So I'd say with the selfie stick that DJI gives you, the best thing about it is that you don't have to extend your arm. Like if you have, you're using one of those short battery mount adapters, you're gonna have to hold your arm out. And I looked at that accessory and rejected it because it has no extension to it. Whereas the selfie stick, I can hold it right here at my hip. This thing's a good distance. If I want to push it out a little bit more, I can. So I think this is the winning combination here. But DJI or Smallrig or Ulanzi are listening, if you could build a selfie stick like this with a battery pack that had a button that you could hit, the record button, I think it would be great. But honestly, the battery has been so good on the A5 since I've had it. I almost don't think you need something like that, because if the battery goes dead or even goes, down to 1/4 power, I'm just going to swap it out with one of the other batteries. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things to like about the A5 Action, the A5 Adventure Combo, which is what I purchased. Okay guys, so I decided to save one of the best accessories for later in the video. Well, here we are. And so what I'm going to show you today is the CA22, and it was pissing rain out, okay, I'll be honest. So I had to do this indoors. So what we got here is the Ulanzi CA22 cold shoe mount. It's a mag mount with quick release that I showcased on my Pocket 3 video. I'll put that over here for you. And so you combine that with the F38 Falcam quick release for backpack V2, and you got a powerful combination. I mean, this thing is pretty slick. You can just, there's a little lever here to lock it in place. You just push it up, push the button in, and you can take off your camera like so. And then if you want to get your Action 5 off of that, it's easy peasy. And then, snap it back on and you can snap it back in place. So let's jump in and we'll have a close look at this thing right now. Okay, so next up, let's take our quick release and mount it on the backpack strap. And so the first thing you want to do is just push this button here to separate these pieces here. Like when you first get this thing, and I was no different, I thought you just took it and clamped it over like this somehow, but that's not how it works. So basically you just take this strap, release it, and what you want to do is center it about here so that this pad is centered roughly on your strap where you're going to mount it. And then fold your clip over like this, and then bring this strap over and lock it into 1, 2, or 3 positions here, depending on how wide your strap is. And you're going to get a little Allen key wrench and another cable if your straps are larger than 75 millimeters, I think it is. And then once you have it locked in like this, you can just snap it into place. And then now, here's your F38 cleat. And you want to have the F38 at 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock. And so it just slides in like that. You can press the button and release it. So now let's take the extra step here And let's mount it to our CA22. Okay, so I'm not doing anything fancy here. What you want to do is have the F38 in line with the CA22, because that's how we're going to mount it. And then use whatever slot screwdriver you like, snug it up. Now you've got it mounted like so. You can bring your action camera over like the A5 here. You got it clipped in, and then simply slide this in like this. You can lock it in place. And now if you're wearing the backpack, it's probably going to be up like this. But if you want to do POV shots, you know, you can do one of these and tip it down. And so I already mentioned about this CA22. I'll put a link in the description to that video if you want to see other videos like that. That might help you. But that's how you install the F38 quick release for Backpack V2. Easy peasy, guys. Okay, so I've been doing a bit of testing with this JJC audio adapter and my Rode Wireless Go and my BoomX-D Pro microphone. So I thought I would share that with you, and so you'll have something to reference for your, you know, recording situation. And so let's take the Wireless Go here, and we'll pop this on top like so. And it's probably easiest just to go right from the USB-C to the USB-C. And so this is the quality of the audio that you're getting with the Rode Wireless Go. This is the Go, not the Go 2, not the latest one. And I can see the levels here are recording just fine. Yeah, everything looks good. So now let's do the next obvious thing. So what I'm going to do in post is, when you're watching this video, is I'll just mute the MKE600 that I'm using here so that you can hear this audio. And so now what we're going to do, let's plug in the JJC audio adapter, snapped into place, and this is what it sounds like going through the 3.5 to the 3.5. In my testing, it seems to crackle quite a bit. And so this is what it's like doing the pass-through. So in my experience so far is that you're better off just going USB-C to USB-C, like directly to the A5, and not worrying about, you know, this JJC adapter. And so, but, you know, you've seen what we've done so far. So now let's do the BoomX-D thing. So we'll put the wireless goes out of the way here. And let's plug in the BoomX-D. So now I got the BoomX-D, and yeah, it's picking it up on the A5. And I can see, yep, I can see the levels on the BoomX-D, so that's good. So I mean, and this is just pass through using this JJC adapter. And so let's be fair, and we'll go direct. Okay, so I'm comparing apples to apples. We did this with the Rode. Now we're doing it with the BoomX-D, and this is what it sounds like. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, going direct into the A5. And now okay, so now we're going 3.5 millimeter to 3.5 millimeter on the JJC, and we're going to see what that's like and what that sounds like. So this should give you some idea of, you know, what external mics you'll be able to use with the A5 should you need to. So what are your takeaways from this video? What I tried to offer is a list of accessories that you'll actually use with your Action 5. Are there one or two you might opt not to use? Of course, everybody's situation is different. But you have to admit the MIMO app, the Smallrig suction mount, the Smallrig cage, the K&F filters, the Vamson case, the DJI selfie stick and battery charger, the F38 quick release and the CA22 mag mount are some very usable accessories for your A5. Now, a couple of times in the video, I made reference to some other videos you might find useful, so I'll put those links up here or here for you, and the rest will be in the description. If you have other accessories that you're aware of that might be helpful to Action 5 users, do me a favor and drop a comment so folks can get access to those as well. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.